we could all be seated, please. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. My name is Cliff Winder. I am president of POA. I'm doing double duty tonight. Our audio-visual guy, who usually is here live streaming the meetings, had another issue come up and he couldn't be here. I am recording the meeting, so I'm trying to do two things at one time. Hopefully it'll work. Please stand for a pledge to the flag and then a moment of silence for our first responders and military personnel. Thank you. Please be seated. Next on the agenda is the reading of our minutes from our Secretary, Rev. Benson. Rev.
Thanks, Cliff. This formality that we do each month is trying to make sure we cover all the minutes from the previous month and have them approved by our membership, which is all of you. So what I want to cover is our March 18th meeting, which we had at Laurel Manor. And normally I just want to cover some of the key highlights from that meeting. And as I look down through this, most of the highlights were related to our speaker. So if anyone attended that meeting, you know what it was about. If not, then we'll give you a few pointers from that. And that was Ms. Cheryl Chestnut, the site administrator for UF Health Spanish Plains Hospital, which is formerly called the Villages Hospital, provided her annual update. The main areas of her presentation were: one, UF Health, a strategic focus, vision, culture, bringing academic and community together as one model, and then the strive for clinical excellence. Another point was our quality care journey. We are improving. Ratings are up. Leapfrog, which is one of the benchmarks they go by, had a rating of C, and that was a 0.5 away from a B in 2024. The Medicare rating of 1 in 2024 will be a 2 in 2025, and expect that to be higher in future years since this rating lags by a couple of years. But we must continue on a path of continued improvement. As far as some of the other quality care journey items, mortality, they are in the top 75th percent as far as lives saved from a hospital standpoint. Readmissions, they're outperforming like hospitals as far as not having as many readmissions. The door-to-door discharge rate, they had a 40-minute reduction in 2024, so we keep bringing that down. And safety, they're in the top 70th percentile in the country as far as safety in the hospital. Expanding their footprint, more hospital capacity. There's 48 more beds in Leesburg Hospital, another one that's under UF Health, along with the rest of their network, which includes Gainesville, Shannon, and up in Jacksonville also. And then there's going to be 9 more dedicated hospital beds at the Villages. The Emergency Department at Brownwood, an urgent care center in Summerfield. And then they're going with this hybrid model of freestanding emergency department and urgent care center, 2 so far and 3 more planned. Medical group clinics, they got 6 across Sumter and Lake counties. And they're connecting top talent, specialized primary care physicians with exceptional care. They're elevating the cardiovascular program, launching a new stroke program, comprehensive breast program, and women's services. They're expanding minimal invasive total joint services and building a comprehensive spine program. On the horizon, the hospital at home kind of a program, which is need care but not at the hospital. More freestanding emergency departments and new urgent care facilities that are combined, and a mobile stroke unit that is hoping to come online before now. They say it should be online in July of 2025. One question I thought was pertinent was that they asked again what the nurse to patient ratio was, and Ms. Chestnut said COVID and flu have hit hard, both this one and 2, resulting in a 1 to 5 to 7 patient ratio under general care. And that was most everything I've covered.
Thanks, Rev. Next is the treasurer's report. Briefly. We had income last month of $14,031, and we had expenses of $13,745.79. So we made $300. We're losing $300. How many of you people were at our shredding event, if anybody, last Saturday? Was it good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was the best one we've ever done. We put through 800 cars in 2.5 hours and shredded almost 36,000 pounds of paper. We'll have another one next year. We do it usually in April, but April 20th is Easter, the church was busy for a month in April, so we had to move it to the end of March, which worked out just fine. Hopefully next year. If you didn't come this year, come next year. It's really a great event, and we help a lot of people get rid of a lot of paper. I was exhausted at the end of the 2.5 hours, I'll tell you that. The back table, we have our Friends of Seniors versus Crime and Realty Execs. As I said before, we normally video record our meetings. Well, we always video record them, but we usually live stream them. Our meetings in this rec center for the foreseeable future will only be recorded because our audio visual guy got another job on the first Thursday of every month. So I'm looking for someone that might have some experience in that wants to back them up and do it 4 times a year. It's really easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it, believe me when I tell you. So if you're interested, just see me or give me a call. On April 22nd at Savannah Center at 2 o'clock, we're going to have another multimodal pad discussion group. This will be our 3rd one or 4th one. We've had, I believe, about 65 or 70 people at every one we've had. It's really an important issue. People are just getting hurt with golf carts, and we need to find a way to stop it. Hopefully you guys can come and give us your opinion. I believe there is a district that will be putting RPMs, reflectors, down north of or south of 466. They've been talking about it, and once one does it, there's a couple others that are interested, and I'm sure they're going to do it. I will tell you that the most expensive cost for any district was District 10, and that was $15,000. One-time pop to save people's lives, make things safer for old people when you drive at night. And we all get old, and our eyesight gets bad, we can't see as well, whatever. I just don't understand it. It happens to be something that I have resurrected. There used to be that committee here a long time ago, and it went away. And I'm determined to get it back and get something done to make those paths safer. Because the paths aren't the only part of the multimodal path. The car paths we have on the roads are part of it too. Because I don't know about you, but I drive more on the streets, it seems, than I do on the car paths. And people are getting hurt all the time. Actually, I just got a funny story. Because the name of our group is Property Owners Association. Whenever there's a lawsuit, the lawyers always sue us because they think we own the property. So I got a lawsuit notice from Dan Newland, okay, about 2 people that live in Miami Shores. They got hit by a golf cart, and they both got hurt pretty bad, husband and wife walking. It happens all the time, and we have to try to do something to stop it. So I'm going to continue. Don't know if anything will come. I don't know if any of you saw the bulletin, and I don't have one in front of me, but I think on page 20 of this month's bulletin, there's a notice that says changes are coming to the POA, and they are. Not going to talk about it now, but starting next month, we'll have articles in the bulletin about it. There's some major changes coming, and I think you're going to like. So just keep tuned. You're going to see us getting into the 21st century, which we should have done a long time ago. Unfortunately, when people get old, they resist change, and I'm one of those people. Change is not easy because it creates a lot of work. But it's time it has to happen, so we're going to be doing it. How many of you know what this is? How many of you have one? Some of you. This is a Vial of Life. It's a program done by the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. What you do is you take these two pieces of paper. The first one's instructions. The second one, a form you fill out with all your medical equipment, information, doctors. You fold it up and put it in here. There's a magnet in here and a sticker. The sticker goes on your front door. The magnet goes on your refrigerator. If God forbid you need emergency services and the EMTs come in, they see that sticker on your front door, the first thing they do is go to the refrigerator. Put this on one of the shelves. Don't put it in the door. Don't put it on the shelf because it gets pushed to the back. That's the way it works. Keep it in one of the shelves in the door. I will tell you, I don't live in Sumter County. I live in Marion County. Marion County has the same program. It's just called a different name. It's called Vial of Life instead of Vial of Life. And it's a magnet that goes on your front of your refrigerator. I will tell you I had to use it for my wife, and it saves precious, precious time. It's probably the most important thing that I've ever done. Probably saved her life because I was a basket case, and I'm sure you would all be the same way. So if you haven't got one, we have a whole bunch of them on the back table. Feel free to take a couple, fill them out, and if God forbid you need them, they'll be there. I promised Sheriff Breeden I would get every house to have one. I got a long way to go. We've been doing this for a couple of years. We got a lot left. How many have e-notification? How many have signed up for e-notification? One person, two people. I'm going to tell you guys. Go to districtgov.org. Go to districtgov.org and sign up for e-notification. We're coming into hurricane season, and you're going to need information. E-notification is the best way you could pick and choose what you want to be informed of, especially when the weather gets bad. And it might save you some anxiety and stress. And it's free. And we need to get more people signed up. There's lots of people that get it, but we need everybody to try and get it. So just go to districtgov.org. You'll find it on the website, and you'll be able to do that. Okay, next is part of our meeting is the open forum. We'll try and answer any questions you might have. As long as they don't pertain to something that our speaker is going to talk about today, she'll take questions afterwards. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, and I'll try and answer it. If I don't have an answer, we'll put it in the bulletin next month. But I don't see anybody else. Oh, in the back, Rev.
To District 10, and you said something about a $15,000 penalty.
To put the RPMs and reflectors on the car path in District 10, which has the most amount of car paths. It's just roughly $15,000. It's actually less because you have some that are there already on the curves, so it's less. But that was the most expensive district. And by the way, while she brought that up, I talked about the multimodal path discussion group. Districts 3, 6, 11, and 13 chose not to participate. So if you live in one of those 4 districts, you need to go to your board of supervisors and tell them they need to get on board. Whether or not they want to do anything, their input is important because they represent the residents that live in those districts. District 3, 6, 11, and 13. All the other districts have chosen to participate along with the AAC. Any other questions? Okay, with that being said, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. Just let me tell you who a couple of our other speakers are. Next month, our next meeting, which is at Royal Manor on the 15th of April, we have the same speaker we have tonight. She's going to talk about 2 different topics. So it's a 2-part presentation, so you can get all all the information on these important issues that we all have. In May, we have Dr. Craig Curtis, who's an Alzheimer's research doctor. In June, we have Dr. Young. I'm not even quite sure Rep knows what he's going to talk about. What's he going to talk about, Rep?
One session he's going to talk about strokes and how to prevent them, and another session, another time he's going to talk about joints and stem cell.
And then in July, we also have Bradley Arnold, who's the Sumter County Administrator, who's going to talk about the Sumter County budget for 25-26. I usually have Mr. Arnold every July. The day of our meeting is the day of the budget workshop. It's just that the budget workshop is at 9 o'clock in the morning, and he'll be at our meeting at 7 o'clock at night. And we'll find out what they're going to do about the issues with the fire department that they had to forgive because of the vote last year to approve it. So it should be an interesting meeting. And then Dr. Norman Anderson will be a speaker in either September or October, who usually puts on a great presentation. And we're going to have Sheriff Breeden back because he's got some new information he wants to share with us, probably in September or October. Those are just some of the people that will be coming sooner or later. Okay, with that being said, our speaker tonight is Ms. Linda. I got it here. I'm good. Okay, senior living options. I'm sure she's got a wonderful presentation for us. Lisa, it's up to you.
Thank you. All right. So,
And hold your questions until the end, and we'll take them all. So stay until we get them all.
is it okay if I dim the lights a little? That way you can see the presentation? Sure. Okay. All right. Can I use your mic? Okay, perfect. So how's everybody? Yes, good? Yes. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions before we get started. So my name is Lisa Honka. I own a company called Your Key to Senior Living Options. Oh, where's the camera? Here?
That's the camera.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so again, my name is Lisa Honka, and I'm the owner of Your Key to Senior Living Options. Has anybody seen my ad in the Village's Sun that's been running for the last 8 years? Anybody seen? Yes, you, one. Okay, good. Good money well spent, right? So every Sunday it's in the Village's Sun. If you're looking for me anytime in the future for yourself or for your neighbor, have some questions. I am a senior living advisor, and I started my company 8 years ago because I realized that aging is complicated. And 8 years ago, there were a lot of senior living communities that were coming on board. All the Harbor Chases were being built, the Alans were being built, Buffalo Crossings had just been built, and a lot of people were using internet searches like A Place for Mom or Caring.com to make one of the biggest decisions of their lives, and they had never been here before. They had never been to the villages, never toured the properties. They were an internet search, and adult children were figuring out where mom was going to go to an assisted living or memory care based on an internet search of people who had never been here. And I said, you know, with all my experience of working with seniors for the last 20 years, working in senior living with Right at Home in the Merrimack Valley of Massachusetts, working as a director of sales and marketing at a senior living community that had memory care and assisted living, and then coming down to the villages and working at Freedom Point as the director of sales and marketing when Brookdale Place was built, and then working at Atria. I had a lot of experience, and this was a very different place. People had moved away from their adult children 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago, and now the adult children were scrambling to figure out what is going on with dad that's in the hospital, mom's at home, she's got some memory loss, and where are they going to find the resources? And we do not have a council on aging here. And so people were turning to the internet for the answers, and that I didn't think was all that we could do. So I started my company with the idea that if I navigated as if I were the adult daughter, knowing all that I know about all the senior living communities, their medical needs, financial needs, what would we have? And the first year we ended up helping 300 families. The next year, 400 families called me, then 500, and now, 8 years later, well over 1,000 families a year call me. And they have questions about all sorts of things. We'll go a little bit into that in a minute. But I'm very blessed to be able to do what I do. My services are completely free to families. Never do we charge money, never do we take money, never do we take gift cards. Maybe a Google review would be great, but we never take money from families. We are paid by a senior living community if someone moves in, but not everybody moves in. Sometimes they just have questions about aid and attendance benefits because they were a veteran. Sometimes they have questions about their long-term care insurance. Should they continue? Should they decrease the value? Sometimes they want to get a plan because they're a caregiver, and they call us and we help them walk through what a plan could be today, tomorrow. I have families this week that have called me that I have been working with from 2021, 2020, and now they're ready to make that change for their parent. So again, I work with families that are not here. Sometimes they are here. Sometimes people are needing plans immediately, and we'll kind of talk through our demographics. So again, thank you for having me here. It's a blessing to be able to get the message out. I speak to thousands of people each year through the presentations that I do in 55 and older communities, at churches, at the clubs. This week I was at the Myeloma Club, the support group, so I was at Fairway Christian Church and Hope Lutheran. I speak to a lot of people about getting a plan, and that's where we always start. What is your plan if something happens at 2 a.m.? Similar to the vial of life, right? Keeping things organized, making sure that you've got your ducks in a row, because if you are a caregiver, 65% of caregivers die first. And so you want to make sure that you've got everything in order for your children if they have to navigate. So again, this is introduction to my company, Your Key to Senior Living Options. I actually trademarked my company, so nobody can take my information. This is part of my team, so I am the owner of the company. I am a villager, bought my house in 2013, never dreaming that I would come to live here, and suddenly I was living here a year later. So I've been here a long time, and I have a team now that helps support all the families that we work with. So Josephine works with me. She's been with me for 4 years. She came from the Council on Aging in Maine. She works with families, does support groups at the library and at America House for care partners, and she has a wealth of knowledge, and so she helps again navigate with families. Maureen does all my PowerPoints, my marketing materials, my beautiful brochures. She runs the operations of my company. Marissa's been with me from the very beginning. She does all the outreach. I get referrals from over 400 referral sources. So the Village's Health, wealth managers, attorneys, the VA clinic is giving my name out. Different groups see me do presentations, and they call and they say, we've got a neighbor that's in trouble. We've got somebody that has some questions because they're trying to figure out what's the next step. And Lori is my administrative assistant. We want to make sure that none of the calls ever get dropped. So we always want to make sure that the families that call get help right away. So again, not everything can be found on Google, and that's why I started my company, because I wanted to make sure that we handhold families through the process of transition, whatever that is, and get a plan. So we know the what-ifs can happen at any moment, and I am the child of two parents who both got sick, and 2 weeks later they died. My mother died at 71 of a brain aneurysm, and my father died at 82, went to his granddaughter's high school graduation and caught COVID and died 2 weeks later. So I know that emergencies can happen at any minute. I also am the wife of someone who has had cancer 3 times. So I know about planning. I know about planning with a purpose, thinking about where is everything organized in case something happens to us. Have you done everything? Has your legal papers been updated? Do you know the funds that you might need if you need care, right? So thinking about all of those things is really important to make sure that, again, when the event happens, like it happened to us, Are your children prepared? Can they keep the lights on? Do they know what accounts things need to be paid out of, right? Do they know the name of the dog food that you might have, right? So again, I help people get their ducks in a row and plan ahead. When people call us, they're often very confused. They're trying to figure out, is this Medicaid? Are we going to a rehab? Who pays for the rehab? Who pays for assisted living? Is it time for memory care? Is it really assisted living? Where do I get durable medical equipment? We're happy to answer those questions and help people know what options are out there, because it's complicated. Aging is complicated, and you've never been in this pool of water before trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do next? How do I do this safely? Again, a senior living advisor puts together the pieces of the puzzle for you. We've done a lot of research, figuring out what aid and attendance benefits are, figuring out, again, long-term care insurance, all the things that you might be entitled to, learning about all the senior living communities and all that they offer, right? What are their licenses? What are the floor plans? What are the costs? What kind of care can they do? What kind of care can't they do? Can you bring a Great Dane there or not, right? These are all questions that we have to figure out so that you're not driving around looking at places that, one, really wouldn't meet your care needs, or financially, you might be looking at something that's too unaffordable, right? Because not everybody has unlimited funds. So again, we put together the pieces of the puzzle. Who do we help? We help actually you, right? People that are just beginning to get a plan, we help the care partner. People with Parkinson's get a plan. People with Alzheimer's get a plan. People who have new diagnoses trying to figure out what's the next step. Are we staying here in the villages? Are we moving back to where we came from, where our adult children are? What are we going to do next? We also help the adult children, right? So many, many times I'm working with adult children who live out of state. I had a daughter today call me and said, you met my mother at the Parkinson's Expo. You did, and my father needs respite, but he's also a diabetic, and he's in a scooter, and he has dementia, and he has Parkinson's, and they don't have a lot of money, and our sisters are concerned. Who are you? What did you say to my mother? And my mother's burned out, and we know it, and we're trying to talk to her about doing this, and I'm so grateful that she found you, right? Because we're going to help develop that plan, make sure that the children are informed, so that mom can go up north to the weddings of her grandchildren, right? Because she hasn't been able to do that, and the husband can't travel. So we're going to look at respite. So we're helping adult children help their parents figure out what the next step is. So we help people when? We help people in the future, right? To plan down the road for what's coming, right? What kind of care might you need in the house? What kind of care you might need if you ever transition to assisted living. We also help you get a plan, right? Working on an emergency finder, getting together all your information about if you're thinking about applying for aid and attendance benefits because you were a veteran or a spouse of a veteran who passed. We also help people figure out if something changes, right? A medical condition to the care partner, what's going to happen next, right? Do we need meals? Do we need transportation? Do we need physical therapy, occupational therapy in the house? Is it time to call in hospice? We help people figure that out. And then we help people in crisis. So people who have had car accidents that are calling me from the hospital, adult children that are flying down, trying to figure out what are we going to do with the cat because mom might not be coming home and she can't have a cat in memory care, and what are we going to do about transferring them up to New Jersey? So we help people get a plan. Again, our guidance is completely free to families, so we have a lot of people calling us and just asking lots of questions, and we're happy to help them because there is not a central hub of information. The hospital calls me, wealth managers call me, the VA calls me, the different clinics call me because they know that we're very careful with families, and it's complicated. They don't have the time, the energy to walk people through getting a plan, so they like to depend on people like us who can help walk them through. We help people, again, think about plan before the crisis, right? Figure out where your circle of support is, trying to help you get all your medical information together. One of the things, again, you asked, how many people here in the room have a vial of life? Well, how many people in this room actually have an emergency binder with all your information in it? Does anybody? Good, a couple of you do. What about, do your children know all of your medications? Anybody? No, one person, two people. So what about all your doctors and your specialists and your long-term care information? information, long-term care information, or perhaps maybe your aid and attendance DD 214. Do they know where that is, right? So again, all of these things, we're helping people put together a plan and put together a simplicity so that if the adult children have to help them, it's all in one place. We help people, again, for financial, right, figure out what cost it is for home care if they're thinking about that, if they're thinking about respite stays and assisted livings or memory care. We help people figure out, again, all the resources they might need. It's important to have plan before the crisis. Make sure you've got that emergency binder with all your passwords and your medical information, emergency contact information for your children. And then again, check out resources in the area like us so that you begin to build that plan for the future. Don't be surprised, right? Be proactive and not reactive. So again, we help people figure out, have you done your legal papers in the last couple years? Are they still back in New Jersey or New York and you haven't transferred them down here? Have things changed and maybe your spouse isn't alive anymore? Or those children that you thought you were going to depend on don't live here, they live overseas now. So thinking about making sure that your legal papers are done and your financial information is updated so that if people have to access money in order to keep the lights on, pay for the cat food, they can, right? They know which account has the least tax implications. We help people, again, pre-planning, figuring out, again, medical needs that they might have, things that they need to be aware of, right? The vial of life, emergency life alerts, thinking about those things. Alexa apps, right? Just thinking, make sure that people have these tracking bracelets so if suddenly they're out of the area, their children get alerts. We're just always trying to be planning ahead and keeping updated on the most current safety measures for seniors, right? Even the Apple AirTags. Anybody here in the room have Apple AirTags on your golf cart, your car, your keys? So again, if something happens to you and your children can't find you, they can look and see where is that car, where was that car left, because Dad's now in the hospital in Leesburg. How do we help? We help people develop a plan, find resources, figure out what the cost is, the budget, right? We help them with guidance and support, evaluating short and long-term needs. And again, down the road, if they're thinking about applying for aid and attendance benefits, we're helping them put together a plan for that. We do not file that, but we send them to a person who is free and we'll do the application. Same with long-term care benefits. We call in, we ask questions so that they fully understand what their benefit is, if they have that. And we help them with support groups if they need a Parkinson's support group, Alzheimer's support group, just caregiver support group. We can help find that for them. We do lots of presentations. Get your ducks in a row. What's your 2 a.m. plan? Understanding senior living and how to pay for it. When is it time to consider memory care and assisted living? The ins and outs of your long-term care insurance, veterans benefits, and planning with purpose. So we also have a free toolkit. So this is a downloadable PDF. You can go on my website, Your Key to Senior Living Options, download it, and you can print that out, put that in your emergency binder. It's got your medications, your diagnosis, your children's information. You print it, put it in there, update it as you need it. Again, we run support groups. Josephine's got one running at the library and in America House. I'm also doing, or Josephine's actually doing something on memory care. When is it time for memory care? And I'm also doing one on long-term care benefits. So anybody in the room have long-term care insurance and don't know what it covers, I go over some of the questions to ask. And again, we help simplify the process for people so that they don't get confused, and we help handhold them through the whole process. Thanks for having me. Did I do that in 25 minutes?
Oh, sure.
I'm good? All right, any questions? Was that helpful? Did you learn anything? Yes, sir.
Because I've done this, and this is something that I've gone through with my mom, and I know how difficult it is to find the places that you need to find. So there was a lot of paperwork involved when I had to get my mom into assisted living and in a nursing home to get her on Medicaid. After we went through all the money that my dad had saved all his life. So it's brutal. And do you do all that paperwork? Because I'm going to tell you, if somebody's there to help you, this service is unbelievable because you don't want to have to do what you do because it's really difficult.
Yeah. So let me talk walk you through Medicaid. So most people don't go on Medicaid. Medicaid is a very low bar to get to, especially in the state of Florida. Low bar meaning you must not have more than $2,000 in monthly income, nor will you have more than $2,000 in total assets. So that is a very, very low bar to get to. And in Florida, sometimes the triggers for Medicaid or a long-term care skilled, right? We've got independent living, which is a hotel license. They are not there to provide care. We've got assisted living, and assisted living is levels of care as needed. Medication management, showering, bathing, dressing, grooming, escorting. And then we've got memory care, which is secure and protected. Then we have long-term care skilled. Very few people, and that's what you would think of as nursing home, right, years ago. Well, very few people in Florida ever need to go to long-term care skilled because in an assisted living in Florida, they can stretch their license in some cases by bringing in hospice. And the only reason you would need to go to long-term care skilled is if you were a Hoyer lift, right, a two-person transfer, that you could not bear, weight, stand, and pivot. And most people choose at the end of life to be in an assisted living or memory care on hospice, and their days are limited. It's not years and years. So getting to Medicaid was years and years. Your mother was in her 90s, late 90s, right? So she had exhausted all funds. There is that possibility, even in Florida, to be on a Medicaid apartment in an assisted living or memory care if you meet the criteria. Again, low bar, low money, low assets, low income, right? You can be in a shared male or female apartment with Medicaid coming in to provide all the care through the dollars that they're sending to the assisted living. I don't know your mother's particular case, so I wouldn't know exactly where and when and how it all happened. But typically, people go from home to an assisted living. Here in the Villages, we sell our house. We have some assets. We have monthly income, savings, pension, and we figure out when you go, right? The average length of stay in Florida, and your mother was a very unusual case, but the average length of stay in an independent living nationally is about 2 years. The average length of stay in assisted living nationally is 2 years. Average length of memory care is 2 years. Your mother was in her 90s, late 90s. So she went in and she stayed and she stayed and she stayed. She's way off the bell curve, right? But there are people, again, if we're thinking we need to protect assets like Medicaid, then I'm going to send you to an attorney that is going to help you design the plan way in advance. If your partner has Parkinson's, has Alzheimer's, has something very serious, and you are significantly younger, you're watching your assets, then we do asset protection. Again, that is not me. I'm going to send you to an attorney that I trust, and will only trigger that benefit when needed, right? We don't want to spend lots of money on that if it's ever not going to be needed, but we also want to just have a conversation so that we can protect assets if needed. But again, sometimes people do exhaust money because they're there for a very, very long time. But as I told you, those averages, right? When I work with families, we don't go to the most expensive place if we don't have a lot of money, right? That's part of my job, is to say, I understand what you want. You want the 2-bedroom, fanciest, biggest apartment, but you know what? Your assets dictate we're going to a studio. You might not like it, but that's what we can afford, right? We're not buying the Lamborghini if we can't afford the Lamborghini and we can afford the Mazda, right? This is the same thing. So I'm having conversations with people, what can we truly afford? If they end up getting to that point where they are exhausting the funds, I do have communities that would accept them on Medicaid, but again, that bar of how much money you make per month cannot be more than $2,000. You must not have more than $2,000 in your assets. So way at the beginning, we're looking at how long will your money last as is, right, with the care that you need today and perhaps down the road, but also, are we looking at aid and attendance benefits that could supplement your income, right? Are we looking at long-term care insurance, and when that exhausts, how much money do we have then, right? So again, pre-planning, the average length of stay is very low, and again, if you're 85 and you're going in there, what is the average length of time you'll be there based on an 80-year-old or an 85-year-old? We can do statistics based on, again, how many medications you have. In figure out how medical are you, right? It's a complicated thing. Your mother was the extraordinary off the bell curve because she stayed so very long, right? Through assisted living and then onto Medicaid. Another question? Yes, ma'am. We'll let the youngster run. Now tomorrow's her birthday, so she'll be 1 year older. So, all right.
I'm just curious. My mother is 94, and I am her long distance caregiver. I go back and forth every other month
Where does she live?
in Tennessee.
Nice.
Put the mic closer to your mouth.
My question is, I have considered moving her here.
Yes.
She's been in an independent living with assistants and 2 caregivers. So
That's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars. We could go straight to a fantastic assisted living and save you a whole lot of dollars for down the road, right? So, and be near her beautiful daughter. So, there's lots of things we can do, right? We can look at options up there, but again, we don't want to burn the caregiver out. We saw what happened during COVID. We couldn't see our parents for years, right? You don't know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. You're relying on these caregivers. It's a lot of money. A lot of people bring, at the end of life, one of the very first questions I ask families when I do my discovery of 50 questions, where's your children? Who's your person? Who's your power of attorney? Who's your health surrogate, right? Where are they? Are they coming down for a visit soon? Have you seen them? Are you estranged? You sound like an amazing daughter, which I'm sure she'd love to see you more. So if you ever want to think about bringing her here, we can have a conversation about it, right? We look at a couple places, we get an idea, does it make sense?
Is it unrealistic for me to ask what would be the average monthly on a studio in Florida?
I need to know her care needs. I need to know why you have caregivers in there. So I want to talk to you privately because I need to know all the other things, right? Does she need help with bathing, dressing, grooming, escorting? How many medications is she on? What does she look like? What does she like to do for fun? I can begin to see people through the stories you tell me about her, right? Who does she look like? Of all the communities I work with, hundreds, right? I have contracts across the country, but I'm not going to say what it looks like where she is. I need to see what is she doing every day. Is she in her apartment? Is she playing cards? Is she playing games? Is she going on the bus places? Or is she just sitting there with caregivers looking at her? And if that's the answer, well, maybe there's a better thing than sitting in an independent living, which she probably has outlived that, right? She needs to be where she can get some more care. Yep. So again, if you want to have a conversation. Has this been helpful? Did anybody learn anything? Yes? Again, my services are free. If you have a neighbor that's upside down, you got a family that's got some questions. Again, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. You're taking notes. Sure. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I'm walking away from the camera. He's going to get back at me. I better get back over here. Excuse me.
I'm asking you a question that I really know nothing about, but my understanding is when you get into these type of facilities, some of them are month to month, some of them are by.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Yep. So Freedom Point buy-in, right? CCRC, Continuum Care Retirement Community. You're buying the condo, right? You're buying the condo at Freedom Point with the idea you're going to live on that campus forever. And I say to families, are you absolutely sure that you always want to live here? Are you absolutely sure? Where's your children? Do you have any? No. Okay. Well, do you absolutely love Freedom Point? Yeah, that's fine, right? There are buy-ins. Most communities, 99% of the communities are month-to-month rent. You don't like it, you give them a notice, I'm out of here, right? It's month-to-month rent. Somebody dies, you're done. You don't buy a life contracts. But Freedom Point, Lakeport Square, Waterman Village, you buy it. You buy the condo for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. You still owe them $2,000 or $3,000 a month, but you're living in that condo. You bought it when you were 70, not 80, not 90, and they medically qualify you, right? So if you got Parkinson's, you've had a hip replacement, you got a new valve, you're not going to qualify, right? You want to be medically clean and financially stable. You got $1.5 million in your bank? Okay, because you're buying the condo, and they want to make sure that you never, never, never run out of money. And the only way to do that is make sure that you have a lot of money, right? You have long-term care insurance, you're a veteran, so that you can live in there and they'll never lose money on you. Because the whole story is, if you run out of money, we've got a place for you, and it's going to be in that rehab, right? You're going to live in the long-term care skilled if you need it. But based on what I just told you, most people don't go to skilled, right? So they don't want to end up paying for you to live in the assisted living or the memory care because you ran out of money. That's why they qualify you and they say, well, when you come here at 75 or 80, what's the likelihood of life expectancy for a male is 78 and a woman is 80 in the United States? If you come at 80 and you have $1.5 million, what's the likelihood you're going to run out of money? You're not, right? And I also tell people, if you're thinking about doing a buy-in, go look at the assisted living, right? Go eat in the dining room. Go look at that apartment because you're buying the condo at the independent living, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, the dining room, the experience of the independent living, but you're buying that campus. And if something happens to you tomorrow and you have that massive stroke, right, or your partner suddenly needs to go to assisted living and you say, I can't live in that. I'm in the 2-bedroom with the den and she's going to be over there in the studio. I can't live over there. I want to still live here, right? I want my freedom. I want to go play golf. You got to know what you're buying and you got to figure out how is that going to work when one of you is not the same, right? Go in the same, but what happens if they have a massive event, right? And suddenly they are in a wheelchair and suddenly they need someone to feed them. Well, how are you going to do that in the independent living? Are you both going to the assisted living or are you going to have to bring in care in the independent living? What does that look like? Because that's not what that model is, right? The independent living provides no care. It is a hotel. They see you on the floor, they're going to call 911. They are not going to start CPR. So a buy-in is very rare. Most people don't do that because they want flexibility. If something happens to the couple, the adult that's left behind is going to go back to wherever their children live, right? Because who's going to navigate at that point? The adult child. And they're still working, they have grandchildren, they have children, so typically people will return to their family. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Was that helpful?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Did I open your eyes and you thought about things you didn't really want to think about? Yes. Okay. Well, again, if you're interested, you can go to my website. I post a lot of my classes. So if you're ever interested in seeing my classes, I'm going to come back next month. So I have a little cheat sheet. I'm coming back, April 15th, not next month, at 6 o'clock, Laurel Manor. We're going to talk about what is senior living, how to pay for it, long-term care insurance, and VA benefits. So if you know anybody, it could be a packed house.
Could be.
Thank you for having me. It was a
Thank
gift.
you for coming.
All right, we got to go home and do some birthday cakes.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Lisa. We'll look forward to April 15th. Unfortunately, donuts are on recall at Publix, so we got cookies instead. I don't understand it, but that's the way it is. We haven't had donuts for the last 2 months. Hopefully I'll get it straightened out soon and we'll go back to our donuts. But I got cookies over there, we get coffee over here. Thank you guys for coming and have a great evening.
Yeah.